not a huge TV show guy. I prefer the movies. However, if you put on a sitcom, I'm sat completely. My favorite sitcom is probably Parks and Recreation. Love the humor, love the story, and of course, I love the characters. And a central character of the show is Tom Haverford, played by Aziz Ansari. And would you look at that? He made a movie. Good Fortune stars Keanu Reeves as an angel attempting to help two completely different men with their lives. Knowing Ansari from Parks and Rec, I can comfortably say that at the very least, the movie should be funny. That's all I want out of a comedy, to laugh. I mean, a good story would help. But what is this, Shawshank Redemption? So, question of the hour, is the movie funny? Or at the very least, is the movie good? No, not really. Ansari plays Arj, a nearly broke guy desperately looking for cash. He catches the eye of Gabriel, played by Keanu Reeves, who is a guardian angel protecting people from texting and driving incidents. Gabriel wants more purpose out of life, so he decides to help Arj find purpose in his life. Ansari is proficient in the director's seat, I suppose. The film looks like a Super Bowl commercial and the pacing drags near the end, but overall, Ansari did not do a sloppy job directorially. There were also little moments with fun sound choices and unique camera movements that you don't see in many comedies today. However, I wouldn't exactly call Good Fortune a comedy. Ansari, for how funny he was in Parks and Rec, does not deliver anything here. He might actually be the worst part of the movie, and being the protagonist drags the experience all the way down. There isn't a whole lot of cohesion with the actors. I love them individually, but the only pairs I could get behind involved Keanu Reeves. This might be one of Reeves' best performances solely because of his inability to act. Very smart to cast a terrible actor to play essentially a child in a grown man's body, because every line is delivered like he just learned his lines minutes before shooting. I love Keanu Reeves, so that worked, and he was funny consistently in an ironic sense. But when Keanu isn't on screen, the film's cohesion falls flat on its face. Ansari and Rogen have zero chemistry as actors, to a point that I almost wish their roles were flipped, because you could tell that Rogen can play both sides better than Ansari can play either. At a certain point, Ansari goes from playing Arj to just playing Tom, and I think the film would have benefited from Ansari sticking with what he is comfortable with. Keke Palmer was great as always, but again, she doesn't have that chemistry with Ansari necessary to pull off this relationship. I wish Sandra Oh was in more of the movie because she was a great contrast to Gabriel. I honestly wish the film went in a more creative direction with the Angels, maybe showing how that organization works instead of only hinting at it. The Angel stuff was more interesting than the human stuff by a mile. It's difficult to analyze comedies on their proficiency outside of jokes, because I feel that comedies often get free passes when it comes to cinematography and score, but they should be judged equally with other movies too. Good Fortune is just okay in that department. There are choices in the film that I enjoy, but so many scenes just feel like missed potential. There are opportunities to get creative with this concept, and Ansari just chose the easy route. I mentioned that I didn't laugh much during the film, and well, duh, it's because of the script. But I think it's worse than just the script. The intention behind this movie wasn't to be funny. If that were the case, the film would have leaned in more to the absurdity instead of just playing it safe. Or Ansari wasn't creative enough. You'll get through about half of the movie and realize that Ansari tricked you. This isn't a comedy, it's a PSA. Even worse though, because not only is it self-aware of the soapbox it's standing on, but it's also proud of it. I was really grooving with the story for a solid 30 minutes or so. When Ansari and Rogen swapped lives, I was interested in the dynamics and shenanigans at play. But then the film meanders through this plot twist for so long, and at one point Seth Rogen's character Jeff gets fired from his DoorDash job because the robots replaced him, and he says something to Keanu Reeves like, "This is bullshit. Why is getting money so hard? This is unfair." And at that point, I realized the film had played its hand, and will continue to show me its hand for the next hour. There's something hilarious and kind of disturbing about privileged millionaires making a movie with the message that life shouldn't be this hard for the working class. Y'all deserve better. That's so gross. By the halfway point, Gabriel is forced to live as a human because of his reckless body-swapping actions, and he too learns that life is just too hard when you don't have money. He needs Arj to swap back into his previous life, but obviously he doesn't want to because that life sucks. So now Jeff is screwed because he has no money and wants his life back. So how does the movie resolve itself? Not only does the movie make the argument that living with money makes you happy and secure, but it also needs a conclusion that proves the exact opposite. opposite. In the end, Arj realizes that he needs to just work harder in order to live a happy life. Are you kidding me? You spent 40 minutes mansplaining that working paycheck to paycheck is no way to live, and you have the main character state that it's okay because he will just work harder. A millionaire wrote this, by the way, but it's okay because Gabriel gets to be an angel again despite the chaos he caused. Not to mention the plot holes conveniently covered up with bubble wrap. Very convenient that an angel didn't replace Gabriel in his absence, despite the angels working like a corporation. If somebody gets laid off in a business, their position doesn't just sit there vacant. The movie could have explained this by showing the angels in action, but oh well. No need for creativity. Seth Rogen goes back to being a millionaire, but it's okay because he has an Ebenezer Scrooge epiphany about how hard it is to live life when corporations don't care about you. So he goes on this rant stating that his businesses should care for their employees or whatever. I wasn't born yesterday. Is this message to middle schoolers? Is Jeff the only wealthy guy in the world who suddenly realized that screwing over your employees has consequences? I can't take this many beatings to the head. This is not the revolutionary speech you think it is. No adult is going to take this seriously. And Zari, I hope the rock you live under has air conditioning. And to make things worse, after Arj swears to make the most out of his life and work harder, he immediately quits his next job and goes back to freelance work, something he could have done from the very start of the movie. This is not inspirational, Anzari. Arj is not some bum who needs support from the wealthy. He has a family and the ability to drive and to work in this country. He is not at a disadvantage, yet the entire film portrays him as some victim of capitalistic oppression, when in reality, he's just a jackass who won't put in the hard work. As stated in the movie, I'm all for anti-capitalism media, but it's incredibly insincere coming from individuals who eat capitalism for breakfast. This is not the W you think it is. It's so basic and easy and disposable. All you had to do was make a quirky comedy that implied a deeper theme about capitalism and the difficulties of living in an American economy. You can achieve that message without preaching to your audience. I'm struggling to see a point in a comedy that just isn't funny. Yes, Keanu Reeves is very comedic in an ironic sense. He is very adequate at playing a man-child who loves chicken nuggies, but the actual comedians aren't delivering on the jokes. So now all I'm left with is a backwards-ass social commentary brought to you by the millionaires the film is making fun of. At least with satires like Tropic Thunder or Zoolander, they are having fun with their material while also adding layered social commentary about their subject matter. Good Fortune is actually just another Eat the Rich narrative. Of course the rich should help the poor. What a great message. I wonder if the rich who made this film will actually go through with that. I would have loved a funny comedy centered around an angel looking to find purpose alongside a down on his luck man looking for the exact same thing. That is easy gold if done correctly, but instead we are served a lazy, worthless piece of commentary disguised as comedy. If Keanu Reeves wasn't attached to this, Good Fortune would be banished for actively being ignorant of the world it desires to influence. Good Fortune is a fine enough time if you are on an airplane or need something to put on in the background, but if you are looking for a laugh or looking for decent social commentary, this isn't the right movie. I give it like a 2 out of 10.